The Day of Remembrance is reflective of my political awakening when I was a young man and has shaped the direction that my life has taken ever since. My generation was born after the World War II U.S. concentration camps, and for the majority of Japanese Americans, we had no knowledge of them other than the vague references to camp life that we got from our parents, which in my child's view was some mysterious summer camp that I was deprived of growing up. We were never told of the injustice that our people experienced, and I never knew the true history until I learned it through Asian studies classes in college. The outrage and righteous anger that I experienced was reflective of the times and was quite different from the period that the survivors lived through. My generation came of age right after the Civil Rights Movement and during the anti-Vietnam War movement. I became an activist and a communist. I went back to my community and organized for the Japanese American reparations movement. The annual Day of Remembrance was an important event that we used to draw attention to this injustice and generate support both within and outside the Japanese American community. It was a part of what built the grassroots movement that eventually resulted in the passage of the Civil Liberties Act of 1988. But for me, at this point in my life, after spending decades fighting for social justice in this country, the Day of Remembrance is more than just the Japanese American experience and the particular struggle we fought to seek reparations. It is more than using the experience as a bully pulpit to decry the violence perpetrated on people of color, both historically and presently, for colonization, slavery, anti-immigrant policies. It is all that, but it is also about capturing the true history of this country. The history of injustice, yes, but also the history of resistance and how that resistance has been the main motive force for all progressive change. I look at the Day of Remembrance as being a constant reminder that it is the people who have the power to change society. It is a reminder that we must fight for our stories to be told. Because capitalism sustains itself by forcing us to know only of its intentionally misleading narratives of individualism, democracy, and meritocracy. Capitalism only allows us to see the false vision of the world we live in and what has created it. So even if we see through this and resist, we become like Sisyphus, destined to fight our fights all over again as we near our destination. Because our struggles do not make it into the history books. They are not taught in the schools. The Day of Remembrance is about not letting history disappear. It means knowing the enemy we face and understanding and learning from the battles we engage in, so that we build on our gains to fight for that world we wish to live in. The Day of Remembrance is about telling our stories so that they inform the present and shape the future. And it is a reminder that there is much more work to be done. So let's get to it.